Marjorie Taylor Greene did an interview on The View. This is very unprecedented because typically the people on The View, as crazy as they are, hate to have any kind of discourse with anyone on the right. But the real reason why they're actually bringing her on this time, or even allowing her on the show, is really because Marjorie Taylor Greene has been somewhat critical of some of the things that Trump has done in the administration and just the state of things right now in the country. So there does require a bit of unpacking here, a little bit of nuance, and a lot of information that I need to add in some situations to kind of bring a little bit more context to this. This is a surprisingly civil debate, as you'll see, but I do think that there's some things that really need to be clarified a bit when you're hearing where the View people are coming from their perspective. So before we get into this video, just a reminder to like this video and to subscribe to the channel as well. So let's go ahead and jump into things and see how this goes.
Today marks two historical milestones. We have officially tied the record for the longest U.S. government shutdown ever. And for the very first time on The View, we are joined by someone you might be surprised to see here. Please welcome Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Welcome to The View.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
It's you, Joy.
Oh, Joy.
I was so taken by your suit. So Trump is reportedly calling his MAGA cronies because they say that you're slamming Republicans too much. Well, you're taking my job. You're slamming Republicans a lot on topics like health care, the Epstein files. We know he's still your favorite president. I mean, Truman is mine. I dated him.
But I did not date Donald Trump. But I do love him.
You do love him, yeah.
Yes, I did.
All right, well, whatever.
Of course, right out of the gate, she has to attack her on that. I mean, typical viewpoint, obviously.
So when was the last time you spoke to him? And what's with the tension between the two of you? Now, you may love him, but he may not love you back right now.
Well, that's okay. I mean, Donald Trump, he usually yells at everybody, so we're all used to it. But he's the president of the United States. And here's something you all may not know about me. I think a lot of people on the left are learning that when I ran for Congress in 2020, I ran criticizing Republicans and Democrats equally, because I come from a working class family, ran a construction company for over 20 years, and I feel like the government has failed all of us. And it purely disgusts me. It really does. And I represent a district that is rural, manufacturing district, blue collar workers, and people have been crushed by decades of failure in Washington, D.C. And so I have no problem pointing fingers at everyone. And the worst thing that I just can't get over is we're not working right now. And I put that criticism directly on the Speaker of the House. And we should be at work. All the people sitting in this audience, they go to work every day. People at home watching this show, they go to work every day. Ladies, you go to work every day. The people on your set, and it is an embarrassment to me that we're not in session.
And getting paid.
I'm not taking a paycheck.
Good for you. Exactly.
I'm not taking a paycheck.
Exactly. Good for you. Exactly.
I mean, in all honesty, my position on this has been the same, which is the fact that I don't think that any of these people should be getting paid if they're in Congress and they can't agree to the budget. Like, why is it that continues, but you have people like our actual troops and many other very essential workers, far more essential than people sitting in Congress doing absolutely nothing half the time, are getting the check? Like, how does that actually add up? So, I mean, I agree with the general idea that they should not be getting paid during this.
You're one of the only ones.
Well, like the air controllers.
List. I think that should be a public list.
Yeah.
I think that's fair because our paychecks are taxpayer funded.
Correct.
However, I voted to fund the federal government on September 18th. I want all federal employees to be paid. I want all the programs to be funded. And I think that is our job, all of us together, Republicans and Democrats in the House and the Senate. And look, I'm with women, so I feel very comfortable saying this. I'm really tired of the pissing contest in Washington, D.C. between the men. I really am.
I think that's a bit of a mischaracterization of exactly what's happening, because there's a pissing contest really between Democrats and Republicans. I don't think it's like isolated towards men. I don't know why she's deciding to turn this into this men versus women type thing just because she's on The View. I don't really like that characterization, because the reality is that this is a Democrat shutdown. I've seen plenty of rhetoric from Democrats, male and female, equally for both, that are trying to pin this on Republicans when they're the ones that are not voting on it. So, you know, although there are more men that are there in general, I don't think it's a matter of this male versus female issue. I think it's just a matter of the fact that Democrats are doing everything that they can to stifle this budget solely because they just don't like Republicans. They don't want a clean bill to go through. So a bit of a mischaracterization from her on that point.
Congresswoman, it's so nice to have you. And I watched you on Bill Maher, and I think you've been extremely eloquent in this shutdown in talking about the issue of Obamacare subsidies. I'm a Republican too. We don't agree on everything, but we both agree we have to extend these subsidies at least for a year, because you just can't pull the rug out from under people who are going to see their premiums skyrocket. You talked about your own family, how you'd be impacted, but I imagine many of the 700,000 constituents you represent. So what are you hearing from your constituents on this issue, and how do you see this shutdown ending?
My phone in my office, my district office in Washington, is ringing off the hook every single day. People are beyond outraged and they're terrified, but this has been going on for a long time. Yeah. Democrats voted for the ACA in 2010. It went into effect in 2014. That was the year that we saw our health insurance policy for a family of 5 go from $800 a month to $2,400 a month. And I'll say this, we also watch health insurance companies drop out of the market, and healthcare costs have risen and risen and risen and risen. But I'm going to pick on Republicans. Republicans never fixed it. And then the ACA tax credits were passed in 2021, and there was a sunset date of the end of this year, and Republicans never made a plan for that. And I have been I yelled at Mike Johnson last week on our GOP conference call. By the way, I'm missing the call today. It's going on right now. And I hope that Mike Johnson is finally giving a single health care policy, because the country deserves it, and it shouldn't be a secret. And I shouldn't have to go into a skiff to go find our Republican health insurance plan.
Maybe there is no plan.
You know what? You want to know something? That, I believe, is the truth. There's a lot of ideas, there's a lot of bills, but there's no consensus.
Yeah.
And I think that's a failure. I do.
So first of all, backing up a bit to her talking about the ACA, obviously the Affordable Care Act, but it's Obamacare. Like, not saying what it is once again trying to make it kind of soften the blow, right? Like, oh, this thing was just passed in 2020. It was Obamacare. It clearly that's what that was, right? And it's because it was his plan that has been the problem ever since that time up till now. And so, and Trump actually did an interview on 60 Minutes just a few days ago. And what he basically was saying there was that, look, Obamacare was the reason why this happened. When he was in office, when Trump got elected in 2016, a part of what he was trying to do was to fix the issue with the healthcare that was going on at the time. And basically, they were one vote short of being able to pass the fix to that healthcare. So I think the point is that there is a fix there. There is a plan. But the problem is that at the time, they weren't able to do it due to one vote, is what Trump was trying to say there. So once again, a little bit of a glazing of what it actually was, because these Democrats that are trying to criticize the Trump administration saying there's no plan. Either way, any plan is probably better than what Obama, your guy, put into place and what you all voted for at that time. That's what they are failing to see, is that they're criticizing Trump for not necessarily trying to fix it or having not fixed something yet. That is Obama's fault. So it's like, what are we doing here? Maybe you should blame Obama for setting this up in the first place. That's my thought on it.
Well, I want to talk about MAGA voters who believed that the president made promises like lowering grocery prices on day one. Right now, grocery prices, inflation is up, soybean and cattle farmers are on the verge of bankruptcy. Millions have lost their food stamps and are about to lose their health care, while we're watching $40 billion to bail out Argentina. What is going on?
I mean, now, first of all, any idiot would be able to tell you that the reason why, like, she's conflating a lot of the issues here. This is what I don't like. So, first of all, she's talking about the grocery issue and saying, well, hey, you know, grocery prices are up. Well, that's not this unilateral thing, right? The point is that we need to focus on this idea that when you walk into a grocery store, there are plenty of different industries that are going on, like hundreds of industries that you're seeing in there. There's eggs and farming, and there's meat and beef and chicken are two completely different kinds of industries that are happening there. So you can't just say, hey, grocery prices are just up overall. Like, what do you mean by that? Because every industry is different than the other one. The reality is that egg prices, for example, are significantly down than where they were. That is a stone cold fact. Anybody that's walked into a grocery store will tell you that the prices have dropped significantly on eggs. But each industry is unique and has to be handled differently than another. I think we can have that specific discussion, but, you know, she brings up soy and then she brings up beef, which is something that Trump addressed on 60 Minutes and said that he is working on as well. Some of these things are going to take longer than others. We also have to keep in mind that Trump has been in office 9 months. Like, people, like, I don't know why they're losing it so far like this when he hasn't had enough time for some of these things to happen. But notice how a lot of things have happened very quickly, and then some things are going to take a little bit of time to get us there. But, you know, we haven't even really reached the full year yet. So for them to already be kind of coming down on this is a little ridiculous already. So yeah. Then she brings up this situation with Argentina, $40 billion being paid there, whatever. The thing is that those are two very different things compared to the shutdown. It's like, just because the shutdown is happening doesn't mean that there's that no other money is going to be spent on the government. The point is that the budget that this shutdown is particularly pertaining to is the budget. And those things are the budget is what fuels and funds these programs like SNAP and all the rest of these benefits. That is not the same thing as government aid going somewhere else. Just because something was spent somewhere else doesn't mean you can just redirect it into a different thing like SNAP benefits, which is far bigger than that anyways. But that's the point here, is that, you know, she's trying to conflate all these things and saying, well, this government shutdown's happening. How can he possibly be doing all these other things? And it's like, he still has to be president. He can't just give that up and do something else just because, you know, this government shutdown's going on, which really has nothing to do with him specifically, because it's on the Democrats' fault anyway.
I don't know. I am so America first. I feel like I live it and breathe it. And that's my district, and that's what people want. They are so tired of their hard-earned tax dollars being sent overseas to foreign wars and foreign aid and foreign causes, while life in America just becomes more and more unaffordable. We want this money invested at home for our infrastructure, for programs, for our people, and most importantly, for my children's generation and their children and their children and generations to come. And I have to say, that's what I've campaigned on the entire time. Everybody's like, Marjorie Taylor Greene has changed. And I'm like, oh no, nothing has changed about me. I am staying absolutely 100% true to the people that voted for me and true to my district. And I am so angry when I drive around my district to all these beautiful little rural small towns. And there's manufacturing plants that are crumbling from decades of lost industry, small businesses that got shuttered during COVID lockdowns and COVID shutdowns. And you want to know something else, Whippy? So many veterans that went over and had to fight in some war that really had nothing to do with where they were from or their hometown, and their lives and families' lives have been so affected. So for me, I am unapologetically America first, and I'll do anything I can to work hard to save
Maybe you
this
should
country.
become a Democrat, Marjorie.
Well, that's stupid. I mean, come on. Like, let's not forget how many wars we got involved in first of all, during Obama's administration, but just even Biden, not that long ago. Remember the terrible pullout from Afghanistan that cost the lives of several soldiers. And this is all that's going on under Democrats, right? And Trump is the president of peace so far. He's stopped like 8 or 9 wars so far. So for them to say that, it's ridiculous. And the problem is that I'm having here is that Marjorie Taylor Greene is kind of veiling over a bit of what she's talking about. She's saying, well, these COVID lockdowns. Oh, COVID lockdowns. Well, where were these lockdowns happening Or where were the worst effect these lockdowns had were in Democrat-run states. The Democrats were the first ones jumping on these lockdowns. They were the ones getting exposed for not following their own rules that they were imposing on other people. So many people lost their businesses solely because Democrats said, no, you are not allowed to do this. No, you are not to run your business unless you force everybody in there to wear a mask and do all these other things. And I mean, these are Democrat issues that were taking place. So, we can say shutdowns just randomly, but we all know as well who was really at fault for how bad the shutdowns were. The other thing, too, that they're not mentioning is the fact that the amount of money that was being sent to Ukraine, by the way, was astronomical. They want to focus on, Argentina or this country or that country. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, if you're so America first, why are you not bringing up the fact that Biden sent all of these billions of dollars over to Ukraine to fund that whole situation? That Russia was allowed to invade Ukraine in the first place because of Biden just being non-existent in the presidency. I mean, how do you skip these things out? This is why it's ridiculous. It's like she's saying these issues, but not saying who was really at fault for these issues. They're just general problems, but everything she's mentioning is once again tied back to Democrats. So it's kind of confusing there.
I'm not a Democrat. You want to know something? I'll say this. I think both parties have failed.
Yeah.
Both parties have failed.
This is worse.
Yeah.
He's worse. Sorry, you know that. He's still your favorite president. He goes against everything you just said.
How does it go against everything she just said? Do you think that Trump was in support of the lockdowns? Do you think that he was in support of Ukraine, giving all this money to Ukraine? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, what is she talking about? Trump has been the most America first president. And especially when you consider the fact that we're looking at things that are, let's look at what's America first. Just a little bit of the things that Trump's done with, say, immigration. I mean, what's more America first than closing the border? What is more anti-American than trying to open the border to everybody like Biden did? I mean, just ridiculous numbers of people coming into the country during the Biden administration. And you're going to pretend as if that is somehow like a Trump policy or that's America first in some way. Like, Joy Behar is completely delusional in this. It's like, just because Marjorie Taylor Greene is not really, I mean, she's not doing a great job here, I don't think. I mean, because she's kind of glazing over a lot of the specifics of why these things were problems and who is to blame for those problems. But Joy Behar pretending as if, Trump is somehow not America first is ridiculous, and somehow pretending that Democrats are? Really? Like, she would, in the same breath, support everything that is going on with what the Democrats are wanting to do with the shutdown, because they want all of this health care for illegal aliens. So for her to sit there and say that, like, that's not America first. That is legitimately not America first. You were basically putting Americans second when you try to pass health care for people that don't even have a citizenship in this country.
Look, I like Donald Trump. I fought for him to win. I'm very thankful for the secure border. I'm friends with Laken Riley's mother. And we saw I serve on Homeland Security, over 12 million people came across our border, over 2 million gotaways. These are terrorists, cartels, all kinds of criminals. We don't know where they are in this country, and that affects all of us. That's not a political party thing.
One thing.
That is a political party thing. It's the Democrats that open the border. It's literally that simple. See how she's glazing over these things?
There's so many other things to go after him on.
That you seem to disagree on. I've got to tell you, I'm sitting here just stumped. Because you are a very different person than I thought you were.
Well, you've only seen me in clips
Yes,
and headlines, and that's not fair.
And that is true. Now, you've broken from the Republican Party on a number of issues, including, besides the shutdown, such as the war in Gaza, tariffs, Trump's desire to expand AI, foreign aid. But you've also had these clips highlighting the very public spats that you've had with your colleagues, where your behavior, some say, is just unbecoming for a congresswoman. And you're promoting conspiracy theories like QAnon in the past. But you seem to have grown past that. And I feel like I'm sitting next to a completely different Marjorie Taylor Greene. Why the change? Why the evolution?
Well, Sonny,
it's like you've gone so right. It's like you're on the left now.
That doesn't even make any sense. Like, I mean, this is a very weird dynamic, and it's funny because they don't get it. Like, they don't understand. The people on The View really don't understand what's happening. It's like the reason why you on The View thinks that you knew Marjorie Taylor Greene, or anybody, by the way, is because people like you and your organization of your ilk, the mainstream media, have made her look this way. It was in your best interest to make these people look this way. I think if you had most people on the show, I think if they had Trump back on this show, they would realize how much more reasonable he is than what they thought before. But the problem is that they believe their own lies. That is the biggest problem with Democrats right now. The left is saying all this stuff, but even everything that Trump does, they're looking at clips after clip after clip that are all based on who? The mainstream media, people that believe what they believe, editing these things deceptively to get you to believe a certain narrative, and then you're going to sit and act like you've become so reasonable. You're on the left. And it's like, no, she's not, and no, anybody else is. I think the criticisms that she's bringing up are reasonable, but the point is that at the end of the day, she's just not blaming the right people for it. But regardless, you have to at least admit the fact that the people on The View don't understand who anybody really is because they trust themselves to actually try and lie to the American people. This is what The View does. This is what every other mainstream media organization does. It's kind of weird here.
It's like
I'm
this.
not on the left, and we could talk about Russian collusion. That was a conspiracy theory and a lie. There's lies that come from both sides. Let's be really honest with
the
one
Russians
another.
did try to affect the outcome of the
Russia
election.
collusion with Donald Trump was an absolute lie, and all the information's coming out. So both sides have had their lies, but here's where I'm at. All of this two-party fighting, you guys, you are all victims of the political industrial complex. And it's built on fundraising and fighting and toxic just garbage. And that exists all over social media, but that's not going to solve our problems in this country.
Would you say you don't believe in the QAnon conspiracies anymore?
Oh, I went over that a long time ago. I mean,
you've changed.
Well, no, I haven't changed. I was a victim just like you were of media lies and stuff you read on social media. You all have attacked me many times on this show. Because of things that you read about me that weren't true.
Or clips we've seen.
Or clips you've seen
The
that
Jewish space
took me out of
lasers, what was
context.
that about?
No, but
Wait, hold
Not
up.
even true.
Let's
It's
take a
been-
second.
So, I mean, that's literally what I was saying. Of course, they're going to cut this video off here, and I'll probably put out another video with the second part of this as well, since this one's going a bit long. But that is what I've literally just said. I didn't watch this part ahead of time or anything, but the thing is that what they're doing is that the left believes their own lies. They get people that are all like them in the media, and then they clip the things out. They take things out of context, put it on the media, and then The View picks it up, and then they say, hey, this person said this, and they said this, and then they just run with it, and they don't fact check any of that stuff because they believe if it came from CNN that it's inevitably true, even though it's not. So it's funny to me that they're sitting here so baffled. Like, how can this, she must be on the left. And it's like, no, it's just because you idiots finally realize that maybe outside of your own little bubble, that people are fairly reasonable on the other side. Actually, all of them are very reasonable on the other side. It's just the fact that they just are so brainwashed by their own people, their own sources that are feeding these lies to them. So, like I said, there's more to this. I'm going to probably cover this in a separate video, but let me know down in the comments what you think of this interview. Is Marjorie Taylor Greene, do you agree with her spin on this? Because a lot of what I have to say on this is just the fact that she's not really, she's trying to be very neutral in this, but the thing is that at the same time, it's basically taking the blame away. That's very clearly on Democrats for a lot of these things that she's bringing up. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. But with that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next one.